Hello everyone, and today we have a pretty good one. So I went ahead and made a recent order, and let me go ahead and unbag it, and take a look at this. We have a brand new tow hook for our Nissan Frontier, and this thing looks really awesome. I like how sturdy it is. So I'm going to set that aside and also show you the two flange bolts we ordered. Now these are factory Nissan bolts, and let me go ahead and pull one of them out. And as you can see, it's a 12mm bolt, it's got some good length, and it's also grade 9. So you can tell by the 9 that's on top of the bolt, which is really good because you're going to need something strong when it comes to these tow hooks. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And after laying a mat down, I'm going to go ahead and wiggle under the truck, and I'm going to go towards the passenger side. And you're going to see a little opening right here under the bumper. And let me get my camera in, and yep, you can see two bolt holes right there. Unfortunately, the area is a little bit rusted, which we're going to address, but this is where our tow hook is going to go ahead and attach to. And the first thing we're going to grab is our safety glasses, because we're going to make a little bit of a mess. And then go ahead and grab our soapy water. And this is just dish detergent mixed with water. And we'll go ahead and soak it down with a generous amount just to make sure it's well saturated. Then I'll go ahead and grab my wire brush, and we're going ahead and brush away all this rust that we see. The whole idea is using soapy water, one, to remove any grease, as well as keep the dust down so we don't have to breathe it in. So it looks like we brushed away a majority of the rust. Now we can go ahead and rinse it away with just regular tap water. I'm going to go ahead and apply a generous amount just to make sure we get all that soap rinsed off. And then I'll go ahead and wipe everything away with shop towels just to kind of accelerate the drying process so we don't have to wait all day.
Later.
And after a little time has passed, I'm going to go ahead and grab my rubbing alcohol, and this is just 91%. And I'm also going to grab my microfiber cloth and greatly saturate that microfiber cloth. I want to make sure there's a lot of alcohol on it. And we'll go ahead and wipe away any soapy residue left behind and just ensure this area is completely clean. And while that alcohol is drying, let's go ahead and pull out our paint material. So the first thing I have is just a little chip brush. This little simple cheap brush. And we're going to go ahead and use a flathead screwdriver and open up our can of Reform and Seal. This is going to be great as far as protecting the vehicle from rust and give it a nice rubberized coating. So I'll go ahead and grab my little mini mixing stick and give it a nice little stir. And you always want to make sure you stir this very thorough because it clumps up at the bottom if it sits on the shelf for a while. And unfortunately, that mixing stick is a little flimsy because it's really tough at the bottom. So I'll go ahead and grab a bigger mixing stick, that way I can go ahead and stir this up without worrying about it breaking. And after a few minutes of stirring this up, look at that. That's the consistency we're looking for, almost like thick paint. So all those thick clumps should be thinned down by now. And now we can wiggle our way back under the vehicle, take our chip brush, and go ahead and apply the sealant. And I'm going to do my best to apply nice even coats on the area we cleaned, as well as the areas around it, just to make sure we got every nook and cranny covered.
One hour later.
And after about an hour has passed, let's go ahead and check it. So far it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and check it towards the back. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good, feels pretty good. So I think we can go ahead and bolt this right together. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my blue Threadlocker, and then go ahead and apply it right on these bolts. And I'm going to try to apply a generous amount with the camera in front of me. So if it looks kind of weird, that's kind of the weird angle I'm working with. And let's see about wiggling my hook in there with the bolt in there. Come on. There we go. It's kind of weird with the camera here because I'm kind of bumping into it. And then we're going to go ahead and start by getting it finger tight. I don't want to get it all the way in. I just want to get them started. And, okay, that feels pretty good. Let me go ahead and get the rear bolt in there. Again, add some thread locking compound. And it's just kind of weird just the way my hands are and working around the camera, so just bear with me. And that feels good and tight. And then we'll go ahead and tighten this down with our 17mm socket and socket wrench. And this may take you a little bit just because these bolts have a lot of thread on them. But you're going to see me move back and forth between the bolts just to make sure it's tightened evenly. And we'll go ahead and keep tightening this up. Yep, that one feels pretty tight. Let's go to the rear one. And, yep, that one's snug as well. So now we're ready to torque this down, but unfortunately I wasn't able to find a procedure, but I was able to find a chart in the service manual. And we're going to go ahead and torque this down to 96 foot-pounds. So I'll go ahead and start with the rear one first. And that's one. Now let's go ahead and work our way to the front and do the same thing. And there's two. And of course, after we're done, we always got to take a look at our work. And I just want to show you how it looks, as well as that way you can see how the sealant looks when we're done. Now, just as an FYI, when I was putting this tow hook in, it wasn't really for pulling people out of the dirt or actually towing people. It was to try to pull logs or pull things around the yard, because there was a pole that I wanted to pull out of a hole. And I want to do it with the truck, but I didn't have a tow hook, so this is one of the reasons I bought that. Just for something light and easy, that way I don't have to break my back. And looking at that sealant, that looks pretty good. So far, I like how this turned out. It's always about these little details, and it feels really sturdy. Well, if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe.